A's get you. It's your boy Ty back here with another video. In this video today, guys, we're gonna be doing a squad builder of 1 million MT in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, if you aren't aware, 1 million MT, it's a lot of MT. But if you're trying to lock in sets for LeBron, for Giannis, for Kobe, you're just not going to be able to do that being no money spent. You're just not. I think it's physically impossible to be no money spent and have all of those cards. Now, sure, you might be able to save up for one of those cards eventually, but again, it is remotely impossible. So basically, without lock-ins and only 1 million MT, what is the best squad you can assemble? That is what we're going to be going through and talking about in this video. Now, as we dive into it, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Really do appreciate all of the recent support. Starting off at the point guard position, we're going to plug in Amethyst Cade Cunningham. Now, Cade, you might not think that he is, that good. I think he's one of the more slept on cards in the entire game. And I think for Cade, it all starts with his release. Has a great release, and he's long and he's lengthy. Look, I know defensive stats, defensive badges might not be the best with Cade Cunningham, but if you're long, lengthy, and you got a good release, you don't need much else. Good release, plays decent defense because of his player model, and for 84,000 MT, it is tough to beat. I still think Cade is one of the top 3 or 4 point guards in the entire game. And the fact that you don't have to lock in a set, the fact that you don't have to do anything outside of spending 84,000 MT to get this card, I think it's worth it. Cade Cunningham coming in at my point guard position. At the 2, no surprise, Diamond Ron Artest. I think one of the overall best players in this entire game. Now, you guys can say I'm gassing him if you want, but I'm telling y'all right now, do not sleep on what Ron Artest can provide for you guys on the court. The card can do it all at just such an elite level. Plays good defense, has a good release. I mean, there's just nothing Ron Artest can't do. And I think even when it's all said and done, and when you compare him to the final Kobe Bryant that's coming out in a couple of weeks, you're not going to be disappointed if you just bought Ron Artest and passed on Kobe Bryant. I'm just being honest. You won't be disappointed because Ron Artest is going to be able to go out there and at least compete at the same level as Kobe. Is he going to be better than Kobe? Probably not, but I do think he's on that same type of level. I think Ron Artest and Kobe will be more comparable than like a Ron Artest, and I'm just going to throw out a name, than like Ron Artest and Brandon Roy, for example. I think he's more in like a Kobe type of level. Small forward position, we're plugging in Luol Deng. You're seeing a lot of new options with the Ron Artest, with the Luol Deng, but those are some of the best options that we do have in my team as it stands right now. For Sweet Lou, 6'9", plays great defense, and has a good release. Those couple of things, are going to take him places, and is the reason I am plugging him in over a guy like Rudy at that 3. I think it really all is preference based, whether you want to run Luol or not, but I think he is a tough card to beat when it just comes down to complete cards that we do have so far in my team. I've really liked using Luol Deng in my team. Is he as good as LeBron James? No. Is he on the same type of level? I think so, right? I think, obviously Bron's better, not going to sit here and lie, but Luol Deng can go out there and at least compete on that similar level. Power forward, so we've used a lot of MT. So far, we basically used, 400, a little over 400,000 MT. Power forward position, I was talking about Rudy. We're plugging him in there at the 4. Now, again, whether you want to run Rudy at the 3, at the 4, that's totally up to you. I do think at the 4 he's a little bit undersized, and that definitely hurts the card. But for me, when I'm looking at things, and this is just me, I think you have to plug him into the lineup. Why? Just because of everything else he does on the court. Sure, his player model, he's only 6'8", he's a little undersized, and if you come up against a guy running Giannis at the 4, it is going to be tough. But with his release, with as good as he is as an overall card, I just think he has to be put on the floor, coming in at that power forward position. At the center position, this one should be another no surprise. It is David Robinson. Again, you look at how much MT I've spent. I've basically spent 800,000 MT so far on this squad. And again, we've got basically 200,000 MT to cover. David Robinson, your best center in the entire game. I mean, you guys can argue me if you want, but he is overall the best center in the game. And if you want to argue me, go for it, man. I can't sit here and talk about him being, anything other than that. But he is the best center in the game, knocks down shots, plays good defense, has a decent release. I just think when it comes down to overall, overall centers in the game, it is tough to beat what D-Rob provides for you guys on the court. I mean, some people said D-Rob is so far and away the best center in the game, and I just don't know if I'm entirely, I don't know if I'm in agreement with that in general. I think for the most part, sure, like, he's the best center in the game, but I think Kareem is on the similar type of level. Now, again, maybe that's just me. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do think D-Rob's the best center in the game. I just don't think it's by as much as some other guys do. I think that's kind of the whole point that I'm trying to get across for you guys. D-Rob's still the best center of the game, deserving of being in this squad. Now we get to some of the budget ballers. Derek White, 14,000 MT. You evo him to an amethyst, and the card's immaculate. Great release, plays good defense. I'm gonna compare him a little bit to Cade Cunningham. The reason Derek White is good, the reason Cade Cunningham is good, is because of their release. They both at the point guard position have two of the best overall releases that I have used in the game in my team. So I think that's one of the, for both of them, main reasons that I'm plugging them in here. I've had success with both of them. I've used both of them, and I think both of them are deserving of their spots in this 1 mil squad builder. Obviously, one's 84,000 MT, one's 14,000 MT, but both are definitely deserving. Coming in at the shooting guard position, this should be no surprise for you guys. Swaggy P, Nick Young. He is instant offense, and so that's why I'm plugging him in with Derek White. Not that Derek White doesn't give you any offense, it's just that Derek White's main thing isn't going to be offense. So then you plug in a guy like Swaggy P, who is instant offense, and then you've got a pretty good duo in that backcourt with those two who are going to feed off of each other. Swaggy P is so good. One of the more fun cards that I've used this entire year, and definitely a card for 84,000 MT that I think you can do a lot worse with your MT. And I think that's the big value, right? If I was to give you guys a good backcourt for you guys that's not super expensive, I'd say Cade Cunningham, Nick Young. For basically 165 to 170,000 MT, you can pick up those guys. Obviously, yes, Ron Artest is going to be better, but then you're starting to spend more and more MT. So I think, that 84,000 MT, those types of players are super important to highlight when you do get a good one. Swaggy P, Cade Cunningham, both fit what I'm talking about. At the small forward position, no, this should be no surprise. I spelled his name wrong, though, I guess. But we're plugging in Terrence Mann. This card, for as inexpensive as he is an absolute steal. I'm still surprised to this day that we got this good of a card for as cheap as he is. And you guys can say whatever you want. I'm stunned. For me, I would think 2K would want to put this card behind a paywall because you're looking at a card for 4,000 MT that can compete against some of the other best small forwards in the game. Now, yes, if you come up against LeBron James and you're running Terrence Mann, you're at a disadvantage. I'm not going to try to sit here and lie and sugarcoat things. You're at a disadvantage. But can Terrence Mann compete at a pretty high level? Yes. And it all comes down to this. His release is so good in my team. And I can't emphasize that enough. If you have a good release, it can take you places. Look at Cade Cunningham, look at Derek White. That's kind of a prime example right there. Terrence Mann, another one. He has a good release, means he can play. Backup power forward position. This is where we start to really, again, keep plugging in budget ballers. Jarred Vanderbilt. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I was super disappointed in kind of how his Evo went. I wanted more out of his Evo, and obviously we didn't get it. It is what it is. But yeah, I still do like Jarred Vanderbilt. I think when it comes down to Jarred Vanderbilt, he's just tough to beat. Now, again, that's kind of my personal opinion on things. But at the power forward position, he knocks down shots. He plays good defense. What more can you ask of him? Honestly, like, what more can you ask of a guy in Jarred Vanderbilt who's going to play good defense, knock down shots? I just don't think you can ask too much more out of the card. And that's for me, even, I don't need Jarred Vanderbilt to be a primary ball handler. As long as he plays good defense, as long as he knocks down shots, he has a spot in my squad for the foreseeable future. And at the center position, one of my favorite Evo cards, Bobby Portis Jr. So you're seeing a lot of those Evo cards that I'm plugging into the squad, and you're probably like, for real, Ty, like, you think these cards are that good? Whatever you want to say. I do. Like, I genuinely think when I look at these cards, I'm a fan of both Bobby, Jarred Vanderbilt, and Derek White, and I am a believer that all of these cards are deserving, especially for their MT value. You could even plug Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in here in this squad, and I wouldn't think anything of it. I would just be like, yeah, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from. But I mean, my bench can be assembled. Let's do the quick math. 14,000 MT, 80. Basically, a little over 100,000 MT, you can assemble that bench. And Swaggy P is super expensive. So if you don't want to spend the MT on Swaggy P, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Just all you got to do, pick up KCP instead of Nick Young, and you are going to be moving and grooving. It's that simple. It really is that easy. That is the squad that I have assembled for 1 million MT. If you want to make your specific adjustments, you can. Obviously, if you have any free cards, plug them in, whether it is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, whether it is like a Hakeem, KG, plug those cards into the lineup, and then obviously go from there. I don't plug any free card, even Jimmy Butler. Plug them into the squad. I obviously didn't because I personally don't have them, and I am grinding for them at the time I am recording this. So that's gonna wrap it up for our video, guys. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.